guys, so I'm going to go through our day one workout. I have a ton of different stuff that you can use. So you can do body weight, you can use weights, you can use resistance bands for a lot of these movements. So just get really creative. I also have a duffel bag that you can also use. So these are the movements that you're going to do day one. The first one is a reverse lunge. So if you are newer to working out, what I really want you to focus on is form. So when in a reverse lunge, you step back, your knee is over your heel, but you're driving through your front heel. There's almost no weight in your toes and the front of your foot. If you want to lean forward, that gives you a little bit more glute activation. And then you can stand up. Here. You can stand up. If you want to use a heavy weight, you can step back. You can also use 2 hand weights, maybe on your shoulders, maybe down by your sides. Stand up. You can always challenge your balance by lifting your knee. Kettlebells also work. If you have kettlebells at home, you can place the kettlebell on the inside of your working leg. A little bit harder is on the outside of your working leg. So those are some different options for your reverse lunge. The second one is going to be a narrow lunge. So with a narrow lunge, we're focusing more on the quads rather than the glutes, narrow squat. Narrow squat, we're focusing on quads rather than we were focusing on the glutes in our reverse lunge. So you could you want to put your heels up on something. I'm just going to use these 2 little baby weights. My heels are a little bit lifted on the baby weights. You can also put a book under your heels. You can put a lot of stuff under just to make sure that you're driving through the balls of your feet. So some people like to do it with their feet parallel. Maybe you do it with your feet a little turned out, feet parallel. If you want to challenge yourself, you can hold a weight here. And your knees are going over your toes. So you really want to make sure that all of the weight is in the balls of your feet. You're shooting your hips back, but you're still keeping your chest high, shoulders back, rather than hinging forward. Yeah. All right, so that's going to be your superset. A superset is one exercise immediately followed by the next exercise. Then you take a little bit of a rest. You can do a 30-second rest. You can do a 1-minute rest. It depends how intense you want it to be. So if you want it more intense, take a 30-second rest. Less intense, take more of a minute rest. So you're going to do the reverse lunges and then other leg reverse lunges into your narrow squat. Then you're going to move into your upper body portion. So for upper body, you can use weights, you can use water bottles. I'll show you how to do with the duffel bag. We're going to work on our shoulders on day one. So we've got a front raise, which works your front delts. You've got your front delts, you've got your medial delts, and you've got your rear delts. So we're going to work our front delts on the front raise. So if you have weights, you can have your palms facing inwards or palms facing down towards the floor. Your weights come up to shoulder height, and then you lower back down. Weights come up to shoulder height, lower back down. If you've got heavier weights, say you've got like 10 or 15 pounds, that's a little bit harder to do with your arms straight. So you can bend your elbows, raise your elbows to shoulder height, bring it back down. So you're going to feel this in your front shoulders. Then you're going to superset that into your rear delts, your back shoulders. So there are 2 ways that you can do this. You can do a rear delt raise or a rear delt fly. So, or a rear delt row or fly, raise, whatever you want to call it. So there's 2 options. You're bent over. You can either bend your elbows or with your palms facing each other, you can straighten your arms. It looks like this from the front, bent elbows or straight arms. The difference is your heaviness of your weights. So again, the heavier your weights are, you're most likely going to want to bend your elbows because it's really tough to do that exercise with straight arms if you have like 8, 10, 12, 15 pounds. If you only have 3-pound weights, 2-pound weights, maybe even 5 pounds, then you can straighten your arms, make it a little harder. It's the lever, the longer your lever is, the harder it's gonna be, the lighter weights you're gonna need to use. So again, that's a superset, front raise into a rear delt raise. Then we're gonna go into abs. So first we have crisscross abs. So your knees start at tabletop and your elbows are wide. You bring your shoulders off the floor, extend one leg to twist towards the knee that's right above your hip. Then you'll switch, lifting opposite shoulders off the mat. You want to keep your elbows nice and wide for this. I like to think about reaching my armpit towards my knee rather than my elbow, because what happens is when people think about crunching their elbow to their knee, they just bend their elbow. They're not really getting the full twist. So keep your elbows wide. Think about getting your armpit to your knee rather than your elbow, so you're not just doing this, you're really getting the full twist. Then after that, we're gonna go into full sit-ups. So you want your feet to be together and your knees wide. You can put something, normally you would wanna use like an ab mat, which is a mat that's kind of slanted on the top. It's domed and it goes under your lower lumbar spine, but I don't have an ab mat, so what you can do is you can put your toes under a weight to help. That helps a little bit in the same way an ab mat would. So you'll roll all the way back, tuck your chin, and roll all the way up. Reach forward, just like this. Good. Oh, I meant to show you the front raise with the duffel bag. I'll show you that afterwards. So then, after you're done with the superset, you go crisscross abs right into the roll-ups. You do that for your 3 rounds. You can take a break again in between the roll-ups and then your next round. Your last one is going to be some more glutes and some core. So I always like to finish with some glutes and some core because the core is really essential to all of our movements. So when you think of core, you've got your abs, which are the muscles that are on top. You've got side abs, your obliques, and then you've got your top abs. Your core muscle is called the transverse abdominis. It actually extends all the way around. It stabilizes your spine, and that's what we want to engage when we're doing our squats, when we're doing our deadlifts. It's going to protect the lower spine. So the stronger your core is, the heavier weight you can lift, and the less pain that you're going to feel in your back. So you get a lot of core strength from doing planks. So I'll do a lot of planks and also hollow holds, where you're holding in a position rather than crunching, which works your abs. Any kind of crunching or twisting, that's going to work more abs. Any kind of holding isolation movements is going to work your core muscle. So we're going to start with a hip bridge. This is a glute exercise. So your heels are going to be right, I'll turn. Your heels should be right under your knees when your hips are lifted. So do a hip bridge. Your shoulders are on the floor. As you go up, your knees should be over your heels. If you're having a hard time feeling your glutes with this, move your legs a little bit wider and turn your feet outwards. That's going to help activate the glutes. Again, you can place a kettlebell, you can place a dumbbell, you can place your duffel bag on your hips. You can do it with a band around the tops of your knees, pulling the band apart. That's going to work some of those outer glutes. You're going to do the hip bridge. Then you're going to go into sideline leg lifts. So with sideline leg lifts, your elbows right underneath your shoulder, your core is tight, and your legs are straight. And you're just going to lift. Now, if you need help with balance, you can bend that bottom knee and lift this way. If you want it harder, come up onto your knee. So your knee is under your hip, and then your hand is under your shoulder. You can put your arm up. This is a little bit harder because it's got more of a range of motion. Your foot is going further, so your glute is working more. You're going to do that on each side, working both of the legs, and then we'll just do a plank hold. Now, when you do your plank hold, I want you to just start where it's harder for you. That could be 20 seconds, that could be 30 seconds. People who are more advanced with planks, you might be able to do a minute, no problem. So I want you to start at a challenging place and then add 10 seconds. So if you start at 1 minute in week 1, and then you work yourself up to 2 minutes by week 3, then that's great. You're getting a stronger core. That's gonna help you with all of your other lifts. So with planks, the higher you are, the easier it is. If you wanna do this with your hands on a chair, that is easier. Then planks on your hands is even easier than that. Planks on your forearms is gonna be your hardest one. You can also drop your knees and you can do planks right here. Now, the trick with this, if you're on your knees, whether you're doing push-ups, whether you're doing plank holds, any modification that you're taking, that you're in a plank pose, you wanna make sure that there's a straight line from your knees to your shoulders. So you don't wanna be doing push-ups right here. You wanna make sure you push your hips forward, you're squeezing your butt, and if you're doing push-ups or planks, you've got that nice long lever from your knees to your shoulders. So one thing that I forgot to show is the front raises with the duffel bag. So fill up your duffel bag with anything heavy. You can also use laundry detergent, you can use paint cans, and make sure that your hands are about shoulder distance apart. They can be a little bit closer depending on your handles. If you wanted to have your palms facing inwards, you could hold both handles and then you'll raise this way. That's another way to do it with like a backpack or a duffel bag. So hopefully that helps. If you guys have any questions, let me know and have fun with day 1.